What's up? Pretty tired. I got a lot of stuff to go through, so I just like needed to record. Or present. Present. I don't know if I need to, but I'm gonna. So I thought if I go to Google Scholar and type Undercurrents geology. I don't know if this is what I search for. Like, I don't know how. Here's something. The theory of undercurrent. I'm like, seven. Of course. Of course, someone already proposed it, and it was just kind of forgotten to history. Oh my god. So apparently, like a lot of my work, it's really someone else's idea brought back and combined with other people's ideas, like of note. Although that one was way more, I was way more cognizant of it. Gravity being basically an updated Lesagec's theory of gravity, of push gravity. Basically an updated version of this. Like, this is how it is. It's just in an infinite fractal universe, pretty much. Similarly, there is this concept. So I was like, what does he mean? Okay, now I'm looking. I'm like, does he mean undercurrents? Because I don't know. I mean, just because it says undercurrent, it could mean anything. And I'm looking at it a bit. And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I've never heard of him. I've heard of Alfred Wegener. But they say he also proposed continental drift in relationship to undercurrents. I found that very curious. So this is someone, it was very hard to find his work. Or Olga, is it her? Oh, what? Is it her? Oh no, Otto. Anyway. It's like, whoa. that's oh man, my voice is a little hoarse maybe. I don't want to get too close to the microphone. Last recording, sorry guys, terrible. The content good, me not so good. We got round two on that front, probably. I'm in a little different place right now. Let's just kind of burn through this and carry on. So the term theory of undercurrent presented a series of geotectonic considerations and interpretations, which today are summarized under the term theory of undercurrent. Processes occurring in the deep crust of the earth and in the upper mantle was mainly kinematic, so like physics. For a long time, the tectonic passivity of the magma being anorogenic was dogma until Amphiers, let's see what anorogenic, maybe not moving or something. Not related to orogeny. So this is actually took a twist I didn't even anticipate. That's kind of pop. This has been days, August 31st, and this is like a lifetime ago to me. I gotta like think back, like what else. So I just looked at this. Let's kind of go through it. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Impfure. Sorry, the German. Just I don't know. Was a great field geologist. The starting. Sorry, was that too soon or too? A lot of things, probably. Too lot of things. He had begun to map the northern this place, calcareous. It's like I feel like that's like calcium carbonate chalky. Okay. Calcareous. It's like it's something important. Like geologist, like what the fuck, man? Hey man, read the words, man. No, I know things you don't. Don't even play. It works both ways. So don't even get on. Shoot. So this Alps that is made of chalk, northern chalky Alps, to the west and the east, and in the end he had mapped the whole region. Partially in form, I gotta remember, I haven't turned it up so that I would like keep it away from me, because I was like, I feel like I gotta be more professional, but not right now. I was thinking of making more rigorous videos, but I'm like, dude, I don't even know what the fuck's going on. I'm like in this purgatory almost. Like, what is happening? Still no results. I'm like, my fucking. My like neck's all red now. Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what the fuck's going on. It might just be sunburn, but I don't think so. I would like it to be sunburn. I'm like, oh my god. Start reading things on Google. You could go down some rabbit holes, and when it's medical related, become like freaking super paranoid. 1906, he set up the undercurrent theory based on his experiences and observations. So after all this, he recognizing overthrusting of some variety or some region maybe, realized that the driving forces for the transportation of naps over distances of more than 100 kilometers could not be derived from the crust. He developed the idea that flowing processes deeper in the earth must be the reason for the deformation and mountain building processes within the crust. He named these flowing processes undercurrents. I'm like, oh shit, he called it. This guy called it. I gotta give kudos and credit where credit is due. I mean, I'm sure there's other like concepts that I just didn't bother. I was like, maybe I should look into if like there's even like a concept of an undercurrent. Of course, all I'm finding is like deep ocean undercurrent kind of stuff. But then I came across this. I'm like, okay, there is a concept. Oddly enough, I've never heard of the concept. Have you guys? heard of this person and the concept of undercurrents, of like magmatic fluids that are flowing and causing orogenies? I mean, it gets stranger though, because this person's not like insignificant in geological like line of reasoning. So it's almost like they just ignored it and didn't really continue to consider it. I don't know if they're considering this at all anymore. It's more just like, nah. Like, what about the low velocity zone? Like, that's kind of like corroborating. He suggested that there are zones in the crust where parts of the crust are subducted, causing overthrusting and stacking of large sheets of the crust near the surface. So that sounds more like what would be more modern plate tectonics from what I didn't hear. I didn't see any undercurrent specific detail on that, like, but this is someone discussing it. In 1928, Otto described the relief overthrusting. He also introduced the terms deadfalls and mountain splitting. Okay, I should have probably highlighted this. I guess I didn't really intend to read it some reason. So here's the image, I guess, of some elements of the mountain building process. Uh, it looked like these are colliding and one's going on top of the other, I guess, is what he's showing, and creating some folding situation. But that's not really what we're looking for as much as the undercurrents. Important contributions to glacial geology. Little known article. Thoughts about the geodynamics of Atlantic space. Considers one of his most significant works, which I meant to. It's really hard to find in this person's work. Maybe in German. In this work, Ampere recognized in 1941 and described the concept of plate tectonics. I'm like, what? I really don't know the history of plate tectonics in like that kind of way, besides just like Alfred Wegener. I don't know the like key names in the like turning points in the process. It looks kind of generically happening as a field, which is a kind of, it seems to be an indicator that something's missing, and that we're just kind of like going about business without correcting it, but still like pursuing evidences for whatever, like, in the end is the thing that matters. Who was the founder? I mean, it's just like, that's not even plate tectonics though. That's just continental drift. I know they have like a later time, like the 60s. Like someone actually came up with the phrasing plate tectonics. I don't think continental drift is adequate. That's what, like, it's just so like kind of just almost subconsciously or unconsciously happened amongst the conscious pursuit, that it just like doesn't even have a strong like Isaac Newton figure. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's keep looking at this. These ideas were developed from his undercurrent theory. I don't know exactly what this means. Describe the concept of plate tectonics. That's kind of too generic. I don't know what they describe, but apparently they Otto came up with a model that resembles plate tectonics enough where they describe it as the concept of plate tectonics and incorporated undercurrent theory. I wonder if he had any like expanding Earth potential too. That would be crazy. If they just say plate tectonics and don't acknowledge, like, also, also he had openness to a growing size in the Earth. These ideas were developed from his undercurrent theory, with aspects of the theory of convection currents by R. Schwinner, probably also influenced by the continental movement theory of Wegener. German meteor expedition in Atlantic made the important discovery of the mid-Atlantic ridge, explained the existence of this ridge by continuous ascending, rising undercurrents, which crust... Is that where it is? Oh no, there it is. Which breaks through the continental masses and drives them apart. Downward movement of the parts towards both sides. He noted that this spreading involves a widening of the central ridge, and that the divergent movement of the continents follows a more or less symmetrical pattern emanating from the central ridge. This clearly shows that he already recognized the mechanism of seafloor spreading. Yeah, undercurrents, dudes. Like, what the fuck? Like, it just totally, like, tossed it aside. It's so ridiculous to observe. I'm like, I went my whole life never even hearing of the theory of undercurrents. It just got tossed aside. I'm sure there's geologists out there who are like, I was taught this so because if you weren't educated in the way that a proper geologist is educated, then that is why. But there's also geologists out there who are like, I never heard of this dude. I would submit. I can't confirm. I cannot confirm. They're probably like, I heard of Wegener, I heard of Wegener, maybe Schwinner. But maybe he just got left out, you know, they didn't have time to talk about him because we covered him with Wegener. About the same time frame, whatever. Good enough. So, you know, this shit happens. In 1928, okay, I read that side. Oh yeah, that's why it was like big. Reasons for the island arcs of the Lesser Antilles and Southern Antilles explained by Undercurrents. Along a deep sea trench, demonstrating he also real. I guess let's click it. Demonstrating. Also realize the existence of subduction zones. Here's Otto. Or, I guess. Yeah. There's Otto. That's right. I saw these pictures. Oh, that's right. This is from here. Craner and Hauser. I mean, it is Undercurrents. I didn't see this picture. I wonder what the plus is. This creates this Atlantic Central Ridge. I guess that's just the ridge, the high point. Maybe we'll use the plus as a high point. I don't know. I don't know what this is. Oh, west. I think that's west, east. Oh, whatever. Okay, so that's Otto. That's the Undercurrents as described by Otto, as far as we could find, or I could find. This is a cool video I came across that I'm sure is not properly cited. Sorry, people who originally sourced it and did this. But the reason I found this of interest is there's a wave coming in, and what do you know? Boom. Wave coming in. Boom. It kind of reminds me of geysers at Yellowstone. Old Faithful. Old Faithful? Like under. Hot though. I don't know. I don't know why. Not saying it's identical there, but to me, this is essentially what's happening in volcanoes. Just deep enough down where the flows are. I'm just like, it's going up. Like if it's running into a coastline, that's just pretty useless to draw on. Crap. That's better. I guess it's going under the coast. Real in this instance, it's going under something and then running into resistance still and going up to outlet. It's probably like drilling in those moments. enough pressure. Side note, just a side thought. Sorry, this is a pretty bad picture, but I just thought this was probably related to volcanoes enough to just kind of be like, cool video. The tires go so high. I could see people like trying to put some like inner tube thing and sit on it. Probably not a good idea. Holy shit, you better have a parachute ready. Or some kind of glider. Okay, enough of that. So, then I came across this video. And I won't play the video by Geo Elevate about Western Tethyan Eocene Belt. And of particular interest was the sequence. And it's like exactly... it's like exactly where the... I don't know what my post is about Iceland. Let's see. Where I was like showing Iceland. I think I gotta do it this way. Iceland. It's pretty crazy looking weather there. It's probably in this thread. No. No. Maybe? Oh no. Maybe I didn't say Iceland. Probably this thread. I was talking about this image. Here, this outlet, I noticed this, where I basically drew through here, undercurrents. I hope it makes sense, but no, when I show this, what I... undercurrents that are flowing that press into points. Like here's a pressure point, here's a pressure point, but then here's a outlet point based on other pressure points. Like it just suddenly shifts this way, and then over there's reason. And I just saw this and I drew like a line like that to add some more detail, and I thought, well, it probably goes out over here somewhere. I don't know exactly. Like there's definitely inlet too that's interacting in this kind of way. That's hard to decipher between. But I thought like this is pretty good. Let's see. I don't know if this exactly follows it. It goes below the Black Sea, and then it cuts upward, which is a little odd, above Greece. It's a little hard to see where those are in this image without looking at the map. So basically it goes here, and I guess actually cuts up here. I think that's where it was. It's a... Oh crap, I'm really not moving very fast through these. So I guess I spoke too soon. It looks like this outlet is related. maybe it's more that it struggles to get through here, and or maybe it once went through here and it kind of blocked off. Maybe it wants free flow through here way better. And then interacting currents kind of like blocked it off. Pushing into it from the opposing side though, so that there's like an inlet here maybe. And that's why I don't know. Or maybe just flowing, essentially the Mediterranean current and undercurrent that like goes down through the layers. Then it youngs from 156 to 46 to 53 to 38 to B 51 to 46. That's interesting. This one is much longer, but it also looks like it might be... No, I don't know. I don't know exactly all the meanings of this image. 3, 43 to 39. 4, 35 to 31 million years radiometric dating according to modern interpretation. 5, 36 to 22 million. So it's kind of progressing, at least, in the direction of this current flow. It seems to be wedging through resistance. So I thought that was of interest. Here's me actually realizing, no, it actually goes up here. But it still goes over there. Which was a outflow. So I've realized, like, oh, where they're, like, bending is actually cross currents. Like, there's a current generally going out this way across here. That's creating an arc as a function of it being in the direction like an arrow. Like an arrowhead, literally. But then where it bends back, like here, or up here, there's a interacting cross current going the opposing direction. It's kind of making what could be a broad flow be less broad, although the opposing direction might be like a improper way of saying a slower current, where they just like mimic the opposing direction just because it's moving slower with like enough slowness where it basically resists the flows of the faster in like center current. So maybe more like that. In some cases it's really hard to exactly decipher those things without careful detail and like the work of many. Or just some freaking breakthrough beyond words. So then I was like, it looks like it's actually cutting through here, though. If we follow this over into North America, then I'm like, what's going on over there? Oh, yeah. Wait, it's basically going to New Madrid region, I think is how, I think this, yeah, this is where New Madrid is. In the mid-Pacific Mountain relationship I talk about in other videos with like dragon in the title. But it looks like it kind of was actually flowing. Like because I was like, well, maybe it's late and like it's 50 million. Maybe it's kind of like just squeezing through it at the end there. But then I'm thinking, actually, maybe it's just like interacting enough to create volcanism at the end there. That is then still in like a interactive way, leading to like a progression of it. But where really the current was happening much longer, because specifically it's going to this point right here. I'm like, okay, this thing's pointing over there. I think it's legit then. Like all like going back like to over here, relating to currents flowing through up here, wrapping around, cutting through this way. Maybe with like a cross current even going this way. That's like really pinching it. I don't know. It's like this could be. And made it more narrow, where that more occupied the space down here as it tried to get through. Like, to go up that way. Basically past all this resistance of this current and to go that way. Or down. I guess it can go down this way. And just down this way. Then I noticed it kind of looks like if you just go like here, and there's some shapes that actually it just goes like from here. There's a boundary here that goes up. Let's look at Iceland. Like this boundary here, and just dot 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 over here to right there. Then we find another boundary that hooks around and essentially goes over to like here, like a flower head petal. A flower. A rose by any other name. Where like a portion seems to have been pushing against resistance and gone upward. And that it pushing against resistance like held a focal point here enough where like eruptions in large quantities, and not just that, it's not just this going that way, but being a component where there's currents coming up through here and down through this way, which I think we'll come across that soon, I guess. Hopefully. Let's keep going then. So it went up that way is what I'm thinking, and cut across to the side that's going up. Because this side is really going down. The currents were going south on the eastern margin of the divide. While cross currents were happening. Then I started looking at this. Maybe we can come back to that. And come back to that, come back to that. Maybe that's all posted on that. I guess I didn't mention it because I was just like seeing cool stuff, and it's hard to like document it all. it occurred to me. Oh yeah, that's right. It's freaking. I didn't open this post. That's why. I do have another post. Excalibur. I don't know if it's actually gonna find it. I changed my username. I was like, oh, I can do this thing. But all my, oh, that's why it's like buried. Okay, it's in this thread. Alright, we'll get to it then. Then, unrelatedly, I was just looking over at this area. And I'm like, this is fucking crazy, dude. I'm just staring at it like, what the fuck is going on in this area? Like, specifically. Like, what the fuck is that? And my thoughts are, like, what is plate tectonics saying about this? I'm like, I know what I see. Like, when I look at this, I see a spray point that's like fanning out. But it's not really like a plate tectonics-y thing. So, like, what are they thinking is going on in places like this? And I tried to find some information. I actually found some very good information now that I think about it. Damn, I really have been down some rabbit holes I haven't brought up yet. And I'm like lost in my head in so many ways. I'm a little demoralized. By the time I like night rolls around, I'm like, I don't really feel like it. Then I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it in the morning. Maybe I'll do it in the morning. No. Then I'll wait till later in the day, like 8 p.m. Like maybe I should wait till 9. And then I decide, I don't really fucking feel like it. And I just keep, like, throughout it all, just casually researching things. Like, making more content to share, findings to, like, whoa. This area is so incredible, like, right here. Like, dude, it's a focal point. It's like all this current was like, oh shit, dude, what do we do? It's just running into this point. But over here, current's running into the other side. There's so much current into this region, like all converging on New Zealand, pretty much. It's kind of crazy to like think about. But I'm looking at it like, this is over here though. And it like wiggles. It does this little wiggle thing. Which is kind of like, well, part of me is like, current's coming from Antarctica. I figured this shit out. Through Antarctica. I know we can't see the data very well. But I figured out at least that this is happening. Where there's a current coming from over here, generally down through here. That's maybe not as visible in magnetic anomalies, particularly like we see general things going on, but across here, and essentially into here, but like into Antarctica before though, where it went around here and just cut across. To go into Australia. And that's been a major part of my like considerations where I'm like, okay, this is going on. But then I'm looking over here like, wait a minute. I just concluded that this is like a current creating like an arrow type thing, which I didn't really feel all that comfortable concluding like this is generally current flowing off of Africa, I guess. That's like shaping these things, essentially. Including the continents themselves. with much complexity. But what was I talking about? Over here, it really looks like it pushes it down. Like current's going this way, and then it gets pushed down. I'm like, that doesn't really fit with what I was interpreting at all. It's literally the opposite. Like, thinking about it, like, is it possible it got shifted? So it used to maybe go down and then went up. And then I started looking at it like, well, it's going across here. What if current's going down here, across and through, like the opposite? Let's just follow it that way. But it's running into resistance here while it's pushing this other cross current down. It's running into it and pushing it down to a point where it actually bends off of it, some of it, to go over here where it's running into resistance. And it just deflects northward to literally create like two sides of down, over, up. And thereby, Excalibur is in the data, but that's not like yet at this point. That's Excalibur. This is the blade of Excalibur what I call Excalibur in the post. But this thing caught my attention first, where it's like, what if we follow it? It goes over, down. Maybe I missed the exact center things, but to here, and then it looks kind of like the center from here shifts to a totally different angle, and like does some weird thing, and then has just oddities, and then over here it shifts entirely again. So if we follow it some more around, there's some stuff going on, and then it shifts where it just goes up. And I mean, I've definitely looked at this before and just like kind of pondered it and moved on to other things. But this time I was like, dude, it's like a current's coming down, pushing this current over. But really, this current's going to go up over once it passes the down force of this region. Down this way. Once it passes that, it goes up, which ends up being like over in this area. But like super goes up. And the portion where it's like almost there, it goes up into resistance. In this corner area where it's got a freaking, I mean, this is obviously like fields, flows interacting in a more of a field-like nature, if anything, than in a just plates subducting and moving on the earth according to plate tectonics and convection. And no, it doesn't make any sense if you just look like right here. And then just all of this, it's just ignored, while Alfred Wegener's continental drift is pretty much all that is the foundation of why plate tectonics is just fact. I mean, it's called a theory, but it's treated as if it's fact. It's not really rigorously tested. Oh, we're rigorously testing it, but we believe it entirely. Like, it just it needs an alternative, at least being accepted as an alternative. Whoa. Makes me think the Emperor Trough area up here is kind of like a marker in terms of where the upward current is able to be more dominant, like beyond it, where there's like a downflow here but more of an upflow over here, although I think this might actually be down too. I'm not sure. And this is up here, up and then down, like even but I'm looking at this, I'm like, this thing formed at 48 million. Oh my god. I kind of forgot that. I'm just like not paying attention to what I'm doing anymore. I'm like, I'm so beat. It's kind of tiresome. Kind of. I'm freaking killing myself, dudes. Oh my god. 48 million though. Bend in the Hawaiian Upper Seamount Chain. Apalaki Caldera. Lots of stuff in Pacific Northwest. It's a pretty important time. And then this has a pretty important event when it passes the resistance and just fans out. But like, I started looking into it more. I'm like, okay, what else can I find about this? This point where, also 1,100 kilometers of southeast migration with respect to Indo-Australian plate. I was like 1,100. It's almost like a counter motion to Baja or British Columbia, the terrains in Pacific Northwest. I know some of them are moving shorter distances. I don't know if in that time frame, like Yakutat. I think translation is the right word. I don't know. Let's see what reviewed a bit. I don't actually want Paleomag. I just want someone to care about Paleomag. I don't know how to spell it. No. Maybe? Yes, probably. Cenozoic oceanic plateau collision and the tectonic growth of Western North America. May 2024. Let's just say, yeah. $173. Constructed with Silesia. Offshore of the Pacific Northwest. Let's just put in 1100. Does that come up? Kilometer. Translation. I think translation means what I think it means. Yeah. I don't see any, like, numbers. Okay, that doesn't have it, probably. Easily findable. Sorry, Aaron. It doesn't matter. Point is, it made me think of that. As kind of just counter pressures of the opening of the Pacific as this process countered into Alaska. Tasman Sea opening. Then I'm just kind of looking around. I'm like, this thing, look at these poles. Rotation poles for each of the 13 microplates that contributed to the opening of the Tasman Sea. These are points around which these microplates rotated. They're like pretty related to the ammonite. The ammonites. Here's the ammonite. Generally, I mean, it's hard to say where the top is, but at least here, and just kind of dot 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 up here, stretching up to New Guinea, or the base of New Guinea. I mean, all these rotation poles are pretty much in there. Relative motion between Australian plate and Lord Howe rise. Ellipses. Previously determined rotation poles for comparison. Spreading of Tasman Sea seized at 52 million, and counterclockwise changes in spreading direction occurred. Between 61 and 52 million, 2 additional counterclockwise changes in spreading direction occurred. Counterclockwise? I'm like, I don't even know what they mean. I'm just like counterclockwise. This doesn't really make sense to me in a spreading ridge kind of setting. Like, why is this word counterclockwise being just accepted in plate tectonics? That's like that's perfectly normal. Well, if we have convection and like, dudes, what about undercurrents? Did you guys think about that? It seems like you just ignored it entirely. I don't know. That's my experience too, Otto. I know how it feels. Otto's like, dude, finally, someone freaking noticed undercurrents. Freaking incompetence. They just ignored it. It's pretty much basically what he said was plate tectonics and continental drift. Let's carry on. Everyone in history ever said plate. All they're all like none of them even teach plate tectonics in the end. Like, what the fuck is happening? Between 61 and 52, the last tectonic event that marked the history of the Tasman Sea combined a counterclockwise change of spreading direction with a drastic slowing in spreading rate. You mean like an eddy on the end of the spreading because it's a freaking eddy? A current drilling in, creating an eddy against resistance. Of the 13 microplates active during the opening of the Tasman Sea, only the western South Tasman Rise continued to move southward, attached to Antarctica. Okay, I just noted that. And then I kind of looked back and I said, earthquake swarm that was happening down there is about here. This swarm is about here in magnetic anomalies. So I just thought, well, what does this location relate to where those earthquakes were? I'm like, it kind of looks like it's in a path that's like pretty blue here. But then just like if a current's going through here and just keeps going, but then it runs into this fanning, like where current flows out here holding space. So like that wall structure is more, I don't know. Like the main current still is able to fan out here. And then it holds pressure. Maybe was a thought I had with this earthquake there. I don't. It's also along generally this boundary in the opposing direction, so there's like a general path through. It's a little staggered maybe to where the swarm is. Here's Excalibur with his little like cool sword shape with the hilt. I don't know the parts of a sword. The blade. The blade's kind of like jagged. It's like different on the two sides. Maybe it's cutting over here though. It's like applying pressure there and cutting there. I don't know. I was like, cool, Excalibur. Then I started thinking about it. Well, maybe this means current was flowing down through here. And then I started looking some more. Through here, though. So if we just assume a current going across this way, and across this way are kind of running into each other. Like that at that point being where it skips downward from pressure from above. Where the other way, the reason I think it's both ways is it seems to have like a boundary that goes up here as well to like another, almost like a subtler dividing ridge over here looking thing, where it generally looks like it went up, like, so that instead of just going like directly adjacent to each other, like the main bulk current moved upward and went over here to a different pressure point, where it then went up and created like a trident over here. That's a little more complete still. Like it didn't explode into the Pacific, although it makes me think maybe this is a curious focal point. Beyond. And then I try to draw it some more. I think it's pretty cool. It looks like someone standing there holding the sword too, or whatever, doing like a knight holding the sword, something like that. I guess downward. Yeah, like that, like that. Then I started looking, I'm like, maybe there's more to the body. Like, well, maybe this is like shoulder, arm, therefore like shoulders. And then like another arm back that way. Look over here. I don't know if this is like a eyeball, maybe like a nose, funny nose. I don't know. A smile or something. But the sword, if we go this way, it goes to basically Mariana Trench. Let's keep going then. So dot dot dot, like the divide though, if we go up here, the divide is about there. So the portion going down seems to relate to here, and the portion going up seems to relate to the East Mariana Basin region and beyond, where it really opened. So essentially going down here, wrapping around and going up in part, where some of it goes through, but where it goes back up this way. And then continues through a narrow channel, through an opening, through a narrow channel, and then out over here. But instead of staying like this, it literally changes place, swaps to go on the left side. It cuts across and goes onto the left side over here, because this downward current is really coming off of the eddy here at the North Pole. So it's a North Pole exhaust current interacting with its return current that then goes back upward and then goes the other way, pretty much. Is my thoughts, where it just goes the other way. Through here, runs into, though, the propagating current northward in the Atlantic, leading to it basically terminating as like a pressure point at Iceland. Like it still influences, but like its major contribution beyond is to apply pressure at Iceland, a counter pressure related to the Auger Ridge. But then where like this current around the North Pole can cut across it and go through here, and when it cuts across it, it can create an eddy that like goes in the same direction as it here, so it's flowing with it, and then up and like around here, and just kind of cutting through here to create an even larger eddy, but like with this counterflow in the opposing direction, which is why the ridge is happening. By the like strength of them as and counter proximity, that they're like forced together with high strengths. And then just other things happening as well. There's also current going up here into Alaska that goes into North America and wraps around this way, it seems. Geodynamic modeling comparison with observations. I'm like, wait. New Zealand has evidence of vorticity around it? Or even in it? I can't quite tell. It looks like literally the... I think I was interpreting it not as New Zealand, but it sure looks like they're saying New Zealand itself. I don't know. But vorticity? Vorticity. In this small little region, this... Like, dudes, you guys can't go from continental drift to vorticity. It's cheating. It's just cheating. It's kind of confirmation bias or whatever the word is. It's just not. It's an anomaly. It's not. That's the thing. It's not treated as anomalous. It's just whatever. We'll figure it out. It's in the plate tectonic paradigm. We'll come up with a reason, and the thing is no one else has to know. We'll just kind of have a reason. It's not like that's like the behavior. It's just the best reasons. Those are the ones that other people should know. The ones where still like, those aren't the best reasons. Like, sure, it fits enough to like move on and not create like a ruckus or backlash in the community by someone just being like, this can't be. It can't be. We found conclusive evidence it can't be. Like, actually happening in the geological discussion of the like super controlled debate. There's not really any. Plate tectonics questioning. It's just we'll figure out how it fits in. But I thought this was quite fascinating. Vorticity there. Okay. Did that so the current that went back to Iceland, I guess related back to what we were talking about earlier in some way. I can't even remember what it was. I should probably stop. I can do something else for earthquakes. There's been a lot of earthquakes. It's been a lot of earthquakes today. Over here again. This place is getting friggin' quaked on like crazy. And like the first ones were not good. Let's see if they got any info on them. That one doesn't have anything. Something. I saw one of them said 10 to 100 death expected kind of thing. It's like there's still, yeah, probably this one. This has been happening. I won't get into stuff though. I'm too tired. I could go on for a couple hours. Okay, dude.